the microphone's on the table, so we don't yell.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good morning, everybody. So if the audio's off this morning, as you can see, we have a microphone up. So if the audio's off a little bit, if it's not loud enough or if it's too loud or whatever, please let us know. As you guys can see already this morning, we obviously Queen G has changed. She looks
totally converted.
different this morning. This is what happens when you film on TV every day and have to live a personal life.
Exactly.
Now we're going to welcome Charles to the show. Charles,
thank
beautiful
you
to have you on our show. Queen G is out
here.
dealing with some other stuff this morning, so she's our guest star. So, Mr. Charles, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, that's a lot to say, but I'll summarize it up. I'm a native of Las Vegas, of Nevada. I'm a U.S. Marine. I'm a Mason.
Hoorah.
Nice.
I'm a father.
Nice.
I'm an advocate activist. I work with homeless children, homeless families. I work with those who are disenfranchised with the community, whether it be here in Nevada, Arizona, Utah, Florida.
Wow, that's a large base.
Yeah, I am. I've been involved with social service now for 30 years.
Oh, that's a long time.
You know, and I have been an advocate for single fathers and runaway children for almost 35.
Oh, wow.
So I'm kind of when it comes to social service, it's kind of like I'm a master in it.
You're like the big daddy of everybody. You the daddy. You take care of everybody.
And I do it with passion. I believe in humanity.
That's a good thing to believe in these days.
Yeah, and it's it's hard to find. When I say humanity, I have cancer, and as we were talking about earlier when I started, when I got diagnosed with cancer, I was number 19 in the world to be diagnosed with this type of cancer. So you're looking at a young black kid that didn't know what the hell was going on.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. And I was shocked. I didn't know where to go. There was nothing on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing nowhere. And I told myself I can do two things. I can roll over and die, or I can figure out how to fight it. And I guess that's when the Marine kicked in.
Right.
Because I believe that, you know, I can beat anything. Even though I know it's an end to a begin, I know I can beat anything. And that's what I started doing. My life was changed instantly.
Yeah, simplify, do or die.
Yes.
Exactly. It was changed instantly. Everything in my life that I thought was important was no longer on the table even. It wasn't even in the room.
Exactly.
You know?
Okay.
And from that point on until today, and will continue past today, I fight for those who can't fight for themselves. I stand up for those who can't speak for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I sing loud when it comes to injustice. I believe in voting. I believe in participating. I believe in activating. I believe in everyone being involved. To be invited to the show today to talk about the things that I've been dealing with for the last couple of years, medicinal use marijuana and the different types of marijuana, I was excited because not only am I coming from the outside, I'm coming from one of the patients who have been trying. Doctors are saying, we want you to use this. My regimen for medication, I take Dilaudid, morphine, and Percocet.
Oh, wow.
That just takes the edge off.
Oof.
And I am sometimes terrified to take it like I'm supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's addicted to a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
And they got you, technically they have you on 3 of the most addictive, well, 2 of the most
Two
addictive
of them.
opioids because morphine's not an opioid.
No.
But and my doctors get mad at me because I don't abuse it, I don't sell it, but I don't take it as they want me to. And what you just said is one of the main reasons.
Yeah.
With my cancer, I have seizures.
Mm-hmm.
So there's sometimes I can be walking down the street and you flash a light in my eye, I go into a seizure.
Oh, wow.
And you know how many times I've been treated by the professionals as a drug addict seeking medication.
Mm-hmm. Oh, millions of times, I'm sure.
And my wallet's been it's to the so bad that I have to have 2 IDs, even though it's against the law. But I have to. I keep one at home and one in my wallet.
Yes.
I've been robbed so many times from having a seizure.
Well, yeah.
I wake up, my wallet's gone, my phone's gone.
Jeez.
You know, I wake up in a strange place, And you know, all these things have happened, and now I have had a chance to try the medicinal use marijuana. I don't smoke, I don't snort, I don't shoot up, but I've had a chance to try the foods, the bread, the cookery,
the edibles,
the edibles. Oh my God! For the first time, 5 months ago. No, for the first time 6 months ago, I woke up, and it brings tears to my eyes when I think about it. I woke up and I was able to stand up and not be in pain.
Right. Exactly.
Wow.
Been there.
And
I
when
know
I
what
say,
he's going through.
yeah, you know, when I say not be in pain, I don't know if people know it, but when you live with pain every day, it becomes like you get up and use the bathroom, you get up in the morning.
Right.
Exactly.
It's just a regimen, and you just live through it.
Yeah. And what type of cancer were you diagnosed with?
I have sarcoidosis in the front lobe of my brain.
Oh, that is very rare.
Very rare one.
When I was diagnosed, as I said, I was number 19. If you look on the side here of my head, in which I try to not, I usually try to keep my hair cut short, but I didn't get my hair cut because I wanted people to see. The cancer is now spread it to the left side of my brain.
Oh wow!
And that's why my hair.
And that's also that little bulge I'm seeing.
Yes.
There. Okay.
Yes. And I have been President Clinton and the Clinton family. Hello. They have been awesome in helping me. I've been to some of the best places in the United States, Mayo Clinic, Chicago Brain Institute. And the bottom line is that my cancer is so rare and our brain is so still unknown.
Exactly.
And we think when we hear that, unknown?
Yes.
So much we don't
We
know
only
about
use
the
so
brain,
much.
even in this day and age, and it's
that there's nothing they can do. The way my cancer, the best way I guess to describe it is think of an egg. When we crack an egg open, you have the yolk and then you have the white. Well, the cancer is that yolk has a pinhole in it, and now it's seeping into the white.
Exactly.
So you can't scrape the brain.
right.
Nope.
So the only thing they've come up with is that we can cut your brain in two. We can disconnect the synaptic gaps and relays. Now, I had to learn. Some doctors look at me like, how the hell does this person know?
Exactly. When you start talking about it, I was like, what?
So they told me they disconnect the synaptic gaps and relays and not connect them again.
Right.
But the problem is I would have to wake up every day and take the patch from this eye and put it on this eye.
Mm-hmm.
Then if I forget to do that one day, now I've augmented and I've set my body off.
Yep.
Because the synaptic gaps and relays communicate with the electropads to the brain saying, move, blink, breathe. And I won't be able to do that. So I told the doctors, and I'm like, thank you very much. I'm going to fight this.
Yeah.
And I have been doing it now for over 7 years, and each year gets worse. 4 months ago, actually 3 months ago, they came to me and said, you have 5 more months to live.
That's your prognosis.
That's what they told me. And I looked at them
Wow.
and I cried. I ain't gonna lie. I cried like a baby. I cried like a baby for 2 days. I didn't want to talk to no one. I didn't want to come out of my room. My kids, I didn't even tell my kids, and I didn't tell them. My actual home nurse told my kids because they came home one day. I was passed out on the floor.
Oh wow.
And she told them, you know, your dad only has this amount. And my kids found out, and they don't want to talk about it, and we kind of like just, we know it's there, but we don't discuss it. My friends and I discuss it. I like discussing it because it humanes me. Like I said, when I said in the beginning, I love humanity.
Yes, it does.
You know, it keeps me understanding. In today's society, we have to make sure we're grounded at all times.
I agree.
And
I agree.
this show and shows like this that are coming about with normal people, with awesomeness of different lifestyles, different backgrounds, different cultures coming about to bring to those who listen to us, those who we hit them in the house. We're not rich. We're not famous. We are people who survive today's society and everyday regiment.
Yes, we are.
And those are the ones that listen to us and talk to us and we reach them. And to be able to offer that and offer my passion, because that's what it is. It's my passion. I enjoy it. If I'm gone next month, because it says the 5 months. If I'm gone next month, I have lived my life to the fullest.
You have?
That
I've
is
got
awesome.
to sing with Gladys Knight. I've got to travel. I have 15 beautiful children, 16 grandchildren.
Beautiful.
And you know who my grandchildren live for? Me.
Awesome.
There you go.
They live
That
for
is
me.
awesome.
It is amazing.
So that is Charles, and thank you for
We-
inviting me to the show.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely, we're
and,
glad to have you.
I'm excited. When I got that text message this morning at 7:45. At 7:45, I'm like, where is it at? And I live all the way in Summerlin.
Oh, man.
So you had to come across town to even
Yeah.
get here.
Yeah, so I was like,
I'm so glad you did.
It's again, God make its way.
He does.
It makes a way because we were literally on the freeway for almost 20 minutes. You know, and the thing said you'll be here at 8:47. I'm like, uh-oh.
You got here just in time.
You got here just in time. You really did. You showed up
All
on
right,
time.
let's see who's joining us.
And we
this
have
morning.
Ashley and Mikia and Kathy, and we have so many people joining us this morning.
Sharon.
It's so amazing.
Sharon. So good morning to everybody that's
Good morning
joined
to everybody
us.
that's joined us.
Any
Obvious-
questions for Charles?
Yeah, any questions for Charles, you can always ask
You know,
him.
and
Obviously,
check out our page. We'll have links and stuff for you to be able to contact him. So yeah.
Obviously, our show is about cannabis and what it can do for you. And Charles, and I guess you've really had great experiences with it. Better than the opioids that doctors prescribe. It comes from an epidemic in the 90s to where you could walk into a doctor, and this is, I'm not going to say the doctor's name on camera, but it's a doctor I trained with during my externship as a medical assistant. And he talked about the doctors in the 90s, how you walk in there and say, oh, I bruised my finger. Oh, here's a pain pill.
Exactly.
I think I've got liver cancer. Here's a pain pill. It didn't matter what you went in for. They just gave out these opioids, and they got everybody dependent on these freaking opioids.
Yes,
and now there's
they
an
did.
epidemic. It's everywhere.
It's getting
crazy.
worse. There's hospitals now. I went in the hospital recently. They told me when I went in, and I'm thank God I'm in a hospital that knows me. That's what I love about living home. The charge nurse comes. She says, Charles, we have a problem. I go, what? She says, we don't even have any morphine. There's such a shortage right now.
Yes.
And I'm like, really? I'm like, what are we going to do? I mean, because it gets worse. I'm going to go into a seizure. Then you got to induce a seizure coma to keep the seizures down. So it's like, to me, it's a regimen. It's a life or death for me now, you know. And she gave me this new drug, and it terrified me. I woke up the next day not remembering going through hell.
Wow.
And there's quite a few of those out there.
This drug, and I'm still to this day right now, I'm still trying to figure out what this drug that they gave me, because it terrified me. And when I say terrified me, I'm scared as of right now. If I was going to the hospital, I'll be scared of what they're going to give me.
Exactly. Well, and nowadays it's more of pill push, pill push, pill push. They don't want to offer anything. Yeah.
Nowadays, they don't really want to push the pills because we have the opioid epidemic. In fact, it's you can no longer get a prescription from a doctor for 30 full days on an opioid.
Oh, that's right. You can't.
You can only get a certain amount of pills, and then it cannot be refilled.
Nope, not without you going to the doctor.
And you cannot, take. What is the word now? It has to be on a certain type of paper also now.
Correct.
Yes,
it does have to be.
They can't call it in for you anymore.
No.
My doctor, I love my doctor.
Morning, Conrad.
My doctor is awesome. He's been with me since the beginning.
Well, that's good.
When I got this, he was just leaving his group to go to his private practice. So he has been my doctor since the beginning. And he prescribes my pain meds. And he tells me every time I go in there, I'm not going to do this no more. I'm not going to do this no more. But I won't go anyplace else.
Right.
Exactly.
I don't want to go to another doctor. I don't want to participate with another doctor. This doctor is my doctor. He has known me forever. He knows what I do. He knows what I'm going through. It's kind of like my relationship. The key word now is continuity.
Right.
Continuity
of care.
Continuity, guys.
And I have that with him. And he tells me every month, I'm not going to give you your pain meds next month. I go in there, he prescribes my pain meds, and he always says, I'm just scared and he tells me I'm scared. And I watched how the DEA in Colorado
Yes.
broke down the doors and went in like that. And I was seeing that, and I'm terrified for my doctor because he is pleasuring taking care of me as a patient. I'm not talking about the math or the
Right.
many. I'm talking about Charles.
Yes.
My needs are being met, and I'm terrified now with what's going to happen because without my meds, if my pain gets past that 9, my seizures are involved now.
Yes.
Exactly.
And the seizures to me they're not just petit mal seizures. I have grand mal seizures.
Yeah, those aren't fun.
As to
Yes.
as to where I cannot remember, and then not just that, I am bouncing off floors, walls,
Right.
and bricks. So I'm me now. I'm terrified. The municipal use, I am experimenting, trying to figure how it works. Again, I could say I experimented in tasting it. I get paranoid, but I've learned that I've taken too much.
Right.
And so I've now learned when I take municipal use, I have friends around that I trust.
There you go.
There you
know,
go. Yeah.
and you have to be proactive. And when you're proactive with this, people that you're around that you trust will say, "Hey, maybe that was too much because you're acting this way." And
Right.
And as me as a father, an advocate, I have to make sure that I'm available at all times. So
Yeah.
it's important.
Absolutely.
So it's important.
You got to
to me.
still be able to function.
Yes.
And it's really good that you don't go to other doctors. And the reason a lot of people don't realize this is that they goof themselves up. They don't know what we do in the medical field. So working with the doctor I worked with, because he was involved with pain management, and actually every doctor has to go through this before we get our patients coming in for the day, and we go to the DEA's website and we run your name and your birth date and all of that stuff, and it pops up a list, and we can actually look right there and see every opioid you have filled, including when was the last time you filled it. And so right off the bat, if you go to your regular doctor, but you go to this other doctor and get pain medication and he doesn't bother to run anything, well, when you come back to us, we've already seen it, and that's when you're dead cut off. And so that's why doctors cut people off completely. And they're like, well, we don't want to help you. And so you go fiending out on the street and you find this, that, or the other that you really shouldn't take.
Exactly.
And it can harm you. It can put you into seizures and other things like that. And so
I think this epidemic
it's bad.
is hurting. It's hurting the patients who need it.
Yes,
Yes, it is.
Because those who are illegally getting it, they're still illegally getting it.
Yes.
So this law has not done nothing.
No.
It's done nothing for the patient. It has made the patient scared. It has put us in an imposition.
It has.
Because those who are illegally getting these pills are still doing it. They are
nothing's
still,
going to stop them.
No, and so the law created. I laugh about it, not because I love our justice system. I don't love the people
Right.
in the justice system.
I can agree with that.
Overpaid people.
Okay, but I love our justice system. I love our democracy. But it is abused by those who are self-venturing.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
And that's why I say I advocate for voting and accountability, because we put them there.
Yes, we did.
Yes.
We
we did.
put them there.
Yes, we did.
And I'm gonna say it one more time. We put them there.
So y'all need to pay attention when you vote.
Yeah, when you vote. Yeah,
Vote
when you
Teresa
vote.
for president.
And I'm also going to put this one out there. I'm going to put this one out there. A lot of people worry about Congress. Everybody blames the president, no matter who's in office, for everything they do. But I'm going to give you guys a little secret. If you go to the government's website, and that's www.usgov.gov, you can literally look at the ones that actually matter, which is your senators. And you can see their complete voting history throughout their entire career. If they voted yes on a bill, no on a bill, or if they just decided to not even show up that day and do the job that your tax dollars pay for. You can see all of that, and the bills are a little daunting to look through and to try to shuffle through because they're all different numbers and letters and that sort of thing. But you can go through and you can look and find the person who says, you know what, I vote against this beautiful medication that's going to help people. Or I vote that we should just throw dependent drugs at everybody.
Yep.
You can see their voting history and then know when it comes election time that, you know what, I'm not listening to your speech. I've seen your voting history. I'm not putting you back in office. You have screwed the people,
See?
so I'm not doing this again. So keep that in mind. Their voting history is for your use. It's public.
we all got to get out there and check out the voting history, people, because, man, I need to vote some people out of office.
So what has the edibles done for you versus, I mean, obviously they're better than the opioid medications any day of the week. How much better do you feel doing the edibles?
As I said, I tried this 6 months ago. I have a friend who's actually been working with me with it. I can function. I'm not stopped up. I'm not hurting as much.
Exactly.
I'm not full regiment onto the edibles yet. I fought so long against marijuana use, and I feel like a hypocrite. To be honest with you,
Sure.
And to be totally honest, I feel like a hypocrite because I get on my kids, don't smoke weed, don't do this, don't do drugs, this way,
And then
and then I'm turning around eating edibles.
Right.
So I feel like a hypocrite.
But they do understand why.
They do.
That's the thing.
They want me. The same people that I feel like a hypocrite to are the same ones begging me
to do it.
to do it.
I have
And
a friend that does that.
Not to do it to get high, not to do it to do it, but to do it because they want me. They want me more.
Exactly.
Like I said, I got 15 kids, and my kids have always counted on me and my ex-wife.
Yeah.
And sorry,
He's wordless.
No worries. No worries.
No worries.
I live for my kids.
Yeah. And that's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful thing.
That's a beautiful thing, Charles.
It's a beautiful
Oh my God.
thing.
And
It's okay. Take your time.
Take your time.
Take your time.
the imagine, sorry, that that I may die or not be here for my children. Sorry, is something I wake up to every day. When I wake up, I don't move because I just want to know that I'm alive.
Right.
I'm terrified that when I'm gone, the people that are on the street, the children that I help, the homeless people that I serve, that there's not going to be the one that served them.
Well, we here at the morning show hope to help change that.
And that's what I worry about every day. That's what goes through my mind. People ask me why don't I sell my services or make people pay for the services, and then I'll be doing no better than what the community is already doing.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
So I apologize.
No,
No,
nothing
don't
to apologize
apologize at
for.
all.
You don't need to apologize.
Family
Not
is
at all.
important. Very important.
I think about that. So with the edibles, I try to I try my best to figure out what's good for me. How is it going to work for me? How is it going to help me operate on a daily basis?
Right.
I don't drive. I ask my friends for rides because I know now that I can't be driving.
Right.
Exactly.
I have traffic tickets because I used to drive myself to the hospital, or I used to drive myself to dialysis because I couldn't get. There was no other way to get there. So now my life is so important that I adhere to it.
Right.
We operate on our daily lives to sustain it.
Yes.
Medical and medicinal use marijuana, and I'm not saying recreational.
No.
Medical and medicinal use marijuana is one of the most important act that our state of Nevada has enacted and implemented that I think they've done in the history of our state.
I agree.
It's
I
a
think
good thing.
very,
Yeah, I'm
very
from
good
Washington,
thing.
and
I do believe
it
in
was
that.
You know,
it was a good thing that they did it.
it gives our state an ability to serve our people.
It does. It does.
Governor Sandoval, I may not agree with everything Governor Sandoval does, but he takes care of the people of Nevada.
Yeah.
He does the best he can. as an elected official myself, I cannot serve 100% of my constituents 100% of the time.
Right.
And constituents and people out there, remember, the person who serves you serves with the best ability for what you offer them. And the key word is what we offer them. If we're not showing up,
Exactly.
as you just said, if we're not showing up and doing our research, how can we say they're not serving you?
That's right.
Exactly.
Tell me, how can we tell them they're not serving us if I'm not showing up, voicing my opinion, not going around yelling and threatening and sending bombs in the mail. I just remember that.
Yep.
You know, so I mean, it really just participate, get active.
Mm-hmm.
Shows like this is we help you at election season. I hope you guys are going to be doing things on election, on voting, bringing those candidates out of the woodwork.
Absolutely,
bring those candidates here. Put them on the put them on the table.
We are. We're going to put them on the show here. We're going to,
We're
get
going to
away
let
from
them have it.
We're going to
give
let
them full barrel,
them have it.
guys. Be prepared.
When the elections do come about, you guys are going to be inboxing your questions to find out from these officials, and we'll definitely schedule and let you know who's on, which official is going to be on what day. And no mudslinging, no advertising campaigns. This is going to be shooting from the hip, like he's talking about. And you're going to get answers and if they don't answer, hey, you're on camera, dude. You refused to answer, and your face and your eyes went, okay, we know who you are.
Media here.
There's no mass
people.
media.
You're
This is the
talking to
people. This is straight out shooting from the hip, and that's the way we want
That's the way we want it, and that's the way we're going to do it.
You know, and
Exactly.
And believe me, it's so many good politicians out there.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many good ones out there.
Yes.
That are tainted by those who are not.
Exactly.
You know, and it's so easy to get mixed up. I mentioned President Clinton earlier. When he first appointed me into social service for Region 9 for health and human services, he told me one time. He says, "You need to sit down and write an email to yourself. What lines that you're not going to cross, and what your morals and what you stand for."
Right.
And he said, you have that email sent to you every 30 days. That email gets sent to you. Guess what?
That's a good idea, actually.
That email is still sent to me to this day.
Oh,
I
I've
still
got
have
to do
that
this
same
for myself.
email. And when I read that email, that's what gets me the ability to move forward and to continually serve and work for the people.
Right. Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. That's awesome in itself. Well, now we're coming up on the half of the hour, so we're gonna promote our regular guy, Pops OMD Theater, our main sponsor, 923 East Sahara Avenue. You guys make sure you go down and check him out. He's the best venue in town to have your live shows, concerts, etc. You can find him on Facebook. You can find him on Google's Maps. You can find him everywhere. Pops OMD Theater, and the food is great. I love the pizza and the mozzarella sticks. My two biggest favoriteest things in the world. All right. So now coming on to the show, continuing our talk with Canibus, is going to be Miss Sharon Smith. She's getting ready to do her show, Cooking with Canibus. This is going to be an awesome thing. And joining her with us is Nick Payne in the studio.
All right,
come on and join us on the show.
Okay, so you said one of you, right?
And yes, we absolutely. Queen G is actually chiming in from off-site, and yes, we do love Charles. Charles is a great man. We are so proud and so awesome to have him on the show.
Short chair.
And
I'm going to sit back here with the big chair because I am the short person.
And Delaware, if you are listening in Delaware and ready to call in on the show, go ahead and call in. This is actually the perfect time to have you call in. So good morning, Nick Payne and Sharon.
It's actually Sharon.
Sharon. See, I knew I would butcher.
You know what? Having the new hair, I should know Sharon.
Yeah,
I know.
Sharon,
ever since she got the new hair, she's been like, so sister.
Nick should say Sharon. Charles can say Sharon.
I say Sharon.
You say Sharon.
Now that I know it's Sharon, I like it.
Thank you.
I do. I like it. I like that a lot better. So we're going to start with real quick. Nick Payne, just introduce yourself. I know you're working on a very big project, so we want you to talk about that real fast.
Well, of course, my name is Nick Payne. First and foremost,
Thank you for having us on the show. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you for being here.
Thank you for being here.
Lacey's been a very good friend of me since 2 years ago. So if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here now acting. So I
You'd be here.
appreciate it. Actor, originally from Pasadena, California. I represent Lisa Robinson Entertainment Group, Lisa Robinson Agency. She is the best agent and friend. We have a project called Stand Strong for Justice, which is a worldwide campaign for domestic violence against both men and women. Now, this project has got so much of a response. We're just trying to get any sponsors, donations possible to get this project off the ground.
Okay.
So any donation will help us start this project in Louisiana and also in Vegas.
Okay. We're going to link that project
Yes.
onto
And
the
Definitely,
page.
you guys go to our page and check out the
Is
project.
it
It's
a
very important.
501c3, a C4 nonprofit status?
It's
or-
a nonprofit. It's from the Heart Production, which is our fiscal sponsor. Like I said, we just need any donation possible because it has so much a great response, and it's became a docu-series now. So any donation from anyone will help us get this project off.
We're definitely going to link it on the
We're
page. I think
gonna
it's a
link it.
very worthwhile
It's-
project.
It
it's,
is.
it's actually in the group.
Mhm.
It's on my page, Nick
Yes.
Payne on Facebook.
Yeah.
It's on our Instagram, which is LREG Las Vegas on Instagram. So follow us on LREG Las Vegas. It's also
Absolutely.
on there.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Y'all you give from the heart and donate. This is a worthwhile cause.
Right, it is.
It was a movie that, and I've been following it. It was a movie that's now going into a series.
Right.
And-
It was a docudrama.
Yeah.
Now such a worldwide response. It's a docu-series now. So people have to tell their stories, both men and women. So some that don't want to go on camera, they can actually do voiceovers and have the actors react, and some who do, we film them privately and edit and put it on the docu-series.
I'm glad you said men and women.
Yeah.
So much.
It's not exclusively on
yeah,
women.
Exactly. When you say domestic violence, you automatically think women.
Women.
Exactly.
You
Right.
don't.
You do.
You
You
don't
think
even.
about
You don't
men.
even begin to think about
Men.
adding men.
Men, exactly.
And same-sex relationships, which and now society they're growing. Domestic violence is growing even worse,
Yes, it is.
and men feel that they cannot come forward.
See,
They cannot
different.
speak on it because if
'Cause-
I speak on it, then I'm weak or
Right, because it feels like
Exactly.
you're being weak or like it's a weird subject. I mean, I don't know men personally that's been through it, but they're starting to. I've got a few emails from men actually telling their story, sending it to our email because it's a private, it's a soft subject.
It is.
Because when you talk to someone about that, they want nobody around. It has to be personal
Has to be
because it's hard.
one-on-one.
Now, most of my female friends, 90% of my female friends are actually coming out of the woodworks because I didn't know, that they have stories and they're sending private messages to me on Facebook saying, "Okay, I have a story," and you will actually be shocked. So they're willing to help us with their story because it's such of a soft subject and a strong subject, and now it's men and women, so it's opened
Yeah,
the door to everybody.
And men are not supposed to, be abused as per
Right.
se. And they're supposed to be the
Be
strong,
the strong ones,
But,
yeah.
but it has
That
happened.
never happened to me,
It could be
you know.
through your childhood. It could be anything.
I have men clients that majority of my men clients are abused men by women. They are abused. These men are so exceptional. It just makes me angry to figure how do you live so long and think it's okay.
Another thing
Exactly.
too is they never get help because they feel like they're embarrassed. Or
Right.
they're
Exactly.
You know, and they
Like,
don't
I,
want
I'm,
to say.
like I don't want help. I'm too confident. I'm like,
Yeah,
no.
yeah, they have that persona.
No,
I
no.
can't
This-
cry.
And then
this
you're
is
getting
the time
emotional
for you to
abuse on
speak
top
up.
of it.
Yeah.
So
And
that's
that's
why
terrible.
I say
Morning, Scotty.
Well, with Lisa, it's such a strong subject, and me being executive producer on it for us like the Vegas, that's why she's giving me the helm part of it to help here in Vegas and just all over.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
I employ, and I hope that I hope that you all are listening. whether it's a nonprofit or not, the hands of helping right now is more than anything right now, especially during the season. We're in a season where we want our family around us.
Yes.
Right.
And I know it sounds crazy, but why is it only now?
Yeah, should be all year round.
Religious based or not, faith based or not, we want our family. And the hardest thing to go through during a time such as Thanksgiving, Christmas, is to go through an abuse with no support.
Exactly.
That's the worst thing ever.
And that's why we're giving support by bringing out, telling us the real stories. This is not a fake thing. This is not scripted. This is real life. These are people's stories, and they're starting to open up. I mean, no matter who it is, they're coming out of woodwork because this subject, this campaign, because it's so huge. So, like I said, it just helps open the door to everybody.
Yep, it does.
Well,
And it's a hard hitting subject.
It is. I mean, and if you actually look on the link that I posted, it has the whole breakdown of the actual what we're doing, the production, the Lisa Robinson production, what was actually doing, what she has started. She's getting responses. The whole agency is getting responses. We're getting responses here. I mean, so
our great woman who died last week, Della Reese.
Oh, miss her.
I used to spend time with her when she was flying between Las Vegas and Utah when she was doing Touched by an Angel on
Right.
Martha.
Right.
And we used to sit there, and Della Reese was my inspiration. She talked just about domestic violence, always, even before domestic violence became a O.J. Simpson creating that this is a law.
Yeah, this is true.
right.
And she used to talk about it. And one of the things she talked about, and she always told me, she says, Charles, no matter how you see it, she said, men will never come forth. She said, you have to go find them.
Yep.
We deal with this with the military as well. You get a lot of soldiers that go overseas and then they come home and they are just too brave and too stubborn to go get help. And
Sure.
I mean, we need more people out there to help these soldiers, whether you're
Exactly.
men or women, but mainly, men really have it rough because they have to be the provider, the strong one, and you don't want to not feel that way. So
Right. Yeah.
I really feel like,
That's weird you say that. I represent the Marine Corps, Navy, and Coast Guard
oh wow,
to the whole Southwest United States, under the Congress and our government. And you're correct. I fight every day. That's one of my positions as a Southwest Regional President is to fight for that. And we have very limited. In Nevada, we're lucky. We have more veterans here in the state of Nevada
wow.
than 12. If you put 12 states together.
The thing that's really upsetting to me is a lot of these drugs that they put these soldiers on. I mean, one of the first side effects to this is may cause suicidal thoughts.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, well, suicide in the military is up 200%.
Yes.
And one of the reasons I want to do
It's
my
too
show
high.
about cannabis is because I feel like if we can get these soldiers off some of these meds with all these side effects and get them on cannabis, especially eating edibles, I mean, that way you're not, harming your lungs or whatever you want to do. I mean, and you can cook cannabis in anything. You can put it in pasta. You can put it in, you can use it as a crust on a roast. You could add it to bread. You can add it to butter. Of course, we all know butter. We all know oil. You can even infuse it with alcohol. I really am still iffy about that one. I don't recommend that.
No.
But there's so many things we can do to help not just PTSD patients, but cancer patients, people with seizures, people with,
I think the biggest issue is, and the one thing that I now have a problem with insurance is that it's still a Class 1 felony.
it is.
It's ridiculous how they do
And
It
that.
that's
is ridiculous.
and that's our problem. We have PTSD patients, TBIs, which is traumatic brain injuries. I hate using
Depression, anxiety. I mean, gosh,
We
the
have-
sky's the limit on what this.
We
this,
have it,
Yeah.
but the problem is, if they have Champus or if they're using federal government insurances, it's illegal. It is still a Class 1 felony, and that's the sad. That is the sad part.
It is the sad part.
That our states are breaking in, protecting its community and its citizens, but our federal government has been locked down on the actual understanding of this.
Yeah.
I agree, and I think, you know, we need to get it legal everywhere. We need to get the word out that cannabis is not a drug, it's a medicine. It's not like an opioid or heroin or anything of the sort. It's completely natural, it grows on the ground, and we should use this to help each other.
Yep.
Exactly.
You can also, you know, you can make paper. You can make, I mean, the sky's the limit on what you can do with a marijuana plant. I mean, you can, I was thinking when I eventually down the road, when I have my own edible line, I'm going to make all my product, all the paper with hemp.
There
Okay,
you go.
so
And
please
so,
introduce
yes,
yourself. Yes, introduce
I
what
know,
you do.
I know a few people are having a problem calling in. Down where it says write comment, to the right-hand side of that, there should be this little green and white-looking icon button. If you were to tap it, it says join call or join video. If you press it, it should come up and say, are you sure you want to join the video? And then you should be able to press the join button, and then we'll respond on this end. So if you're not seeing it, I do not know why, but we do have a few people trying to call in, but they're not finding the button, and I apologize for that. Facebook again. Just type your question, and we'll ask it on the air for you. And yes, go ahead. Tell us about yourself, and I want to know how and what and why made you want to do cooking with cannabis.
Okay, well, I recently moved here from Utah, and it's not legal there, so that's why I'm here.
Come on, Utah, get on board.
Makes sense.
I love to cook. I've been in the food and beverage industry my whole life. I worked for a high-end catering company in Salt Lake City. We did a lot. I love to cook. I moved to a house in the country. It's a little town called Oak City, Utah.
Okay.
700 people.
Oh, man.
Yes. But I had a garden, and I was 280 pounds a year and a half ago, and I couldn't even order pizza there because it's such a small town.
Right.
So what I did was I got off my butt, and I started gardening, and I started cooking everything from scratch. I make my own pasta, I make my own butter, I make my own mayo, I make my own everything.
She gets to live on my homestead.
Because I feel like a lot of the products that we get in the stores are just not good for you, and fast food is not good for you, and I am down to 145 pounds now, so that's pretty cool in a year and a half.
That is awesome.
And I decided, you know, if I can teach people how to cook and cook with cannabis, because I think when my show airs, we'll have recipes for both, with or without the cannabis, so you can enjoy it either way if you know, if you like the recipe. But I really feel like I need to teach people about nutrition and what you're putting in your body, because 99% of all the health issues we have here in America, especially America, is due to our diet.
Oh yeah,
Because
we're like
poison
we
in our bodies.
have been posted the fattest country in the world.
We really are, and
We
I mean
are.
it's an epidemic,
It's-
and it is
it's
terrible.
scary.
I mean,
It's terrible.
it's causing health. You know, the health industry, all the prices are raising because everybody's got diabetes and heart disease, and they have cancer. Some cancers, obviously, can't be helped, but I mean, there are environment and things that you put in your body that do cause illness, and we
Yes.
need to watch what we eat. I feel like you should be able to eat anything in moderation, but that doesn't mean go eat McDonald's once a week. McDonald's is not great for you. No. But I mean, if you want to eat a bacon cheeseburger, cook it yourself. I mean,
Yeah, because you get
I mean,
so
you're
much.
up
It's so much more
exercising.
healthier.
Oh yeah, you're up
And not to
exercising.
mention the mental part of it, you cooking it
Yeah.
yourself. You feel good.
You're gratified that you
literally
did
gratified
this.
that you did it. And it's, you know.
It's like going to a barber. I go to a barber not just for the haircut.
For the conversation.
For
I
the
go for the
conversation, for the.
conversation.
I want to get
Yeah,
people
absolutely.
to be able to celebrate eating again. You know, not just scarf it down and have it just be gone.
So
Exactly.
So what made you want to cook with cannabis specifically? I'm looking for
Yeah.
that. We're not
That's-
born wanting
well,
to cook
I
with
grew
cannabis.
up-
Yes,
So I am
We're not.
dying to know what
I know
cannabis is.
that people get a, like a, you know, we're all Mormons in Utah. Well, that's not the case. And I grew up with tree-hugging hippies, and they were pot smokers. And I grew up
I
with it my
love
whole
you,
life.
tree. I love you, tree. Okay.
And so I've always been around it my whole life, and I started. My ex-husband was in the military, and he has PTSD, and he started using cannabis, and it helped him a ton. And I was like, you know what? I have older kids that use cannabis. They're all above age, but I thought if you can't beat them, join them. So I did. And then I love to cook, and I thought, oh my God, I could make the best edibles ever. I could make my own pasta. I could make my own everything.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it started.
Well, I
just
can't
really-
wait to try them because some of the edible products out there, they are so strong tasting. It's crazy. You just like,
I personally
taste
don't
is
like
funky.
the taste of cannabis.
that's why you have to learn to cook.
And I've had some edibles where I can't even eat them because they're so. And then another issue that we're
The
dealing with
potency.
too is that when you get an edible, sometimes you don't know how potent it is. My advice to you guys is just little bits at a time, so you don't get uncomfortable.
I learned that too.
I learned that.
I learned that too.
Little bits.
And you know, and because I like Rice Krispies.
Yes.
Oh,
Try
Also,
Fruity
the
Pebbles.
Rice Krispie trees.
Well, that's what I meant. Fruity Pebbles. I call Rice Krispies Fruity Pebbles.
Fruity
the same
Pebbles.
thing.
Okay,
But-
okay.
But I love Fruity Pebbles, and that was my problem. That's why I said I have to have friends because I'll know when I start off eating it. This is inedible. Okay, ate it. We're talking, move around, eat it.
And then
I
you
took
feel
one of these, and it's down to here now. And I'm walking around the house going, what the hell's going on?
and then you feel it because it goes to your bloodstream. It goes it's fast because it goes to your bloodstream.
Once it gets in the system,
Yes.
Well, and
Done.
the chemicals react different if you eat it rather than you smoke it. So
Well, I know I have smoked it. I've never ate it. I've never tried an edible as of yet. So I'm going to enjoy when she fires up
Ooh,
the show.
this
I
is
am
gonna be
definitely
good.
going to be
Yeah.
the first taste tester for her cooking.
Yeah, we are.
volunteer
Okay.
taste
Yeah,
testers.
we are.
yeah, we're all taste testers.
See,
We're gonna be doing it.
that's why she connected with us because we want to help her with the agency to get her stuff off and the connection.
Oh, absolutely.
Exactly.
The connection that we have. So that's
I
why
mean-
I've had my photo hunt moment, and granted, y'all are gonna love it. I love that '70s show, so you smoke it, and you go, "Dude, I'm gonna own a photo hut, man."
Exactly.
And all I can think of is what I grew up on
I
in the
swear.
'70s.
When I'm stoned, I am so much smarter. I swear.
right.
I think I
You'd be
am too.
surprised
the
how
creativity.
The creativity. that
creativity
comes
that
about.
comes
It
out
changes your
when it's-
vibration.
Yes.
Your
Yeah.
vibration changes.
Oh, I
So-
definitely vibrate on it.
But I
Right.
thought, what would be cooler than to feed people with yummy food, but then also to have cannabis with it? I
Yeah.
mean, that's a great
Yeah,
idea.
you're
That's a
giving
great
them,
idea.
you're
That's a
giving them
bomb
healthy
idea.
food, but you're also giving them healthy
Yes.
food that's going to heal and be healthy at the same time. And
Right.
that's
It'll treat
very
a lot
important.
of their symptoms, I mean,
A lot.
me and Lacey have talked, and there's no evidence that marijuana actually cures anything,
No.
but that goes with the case of most drugs. I mean, they're
Yeah,
just
it is.
curing your symptoms. They're just treating you. They're
Right.
not ever curing
Actually,
you.
we can go. When you say that, I mean, what has Percocet cured?
Yeah,
Nothing.
Nothing.
I mean, so we're gonna if we're gonna
Insulin.
hit on
No, no,
the
no,
same level,
and-
let's make sure we go across
Yeah.
the board with it. What is
Right.
Percocet cure?
And
What
that
is
was-
what
that
is
was one of my-
cocaine cure? What is heroin cure?
One of my
None
big,
of those
one of
cure
my big
anything.
points is the proponents of medical marijuana as well as recreational have always gone at the government's throat with it cures this, it cures that. No, it doesn't. And the government looks at these younger people who post this, and I see it on Facebook all the daggum time. Oh, it cures everything. No, and you're coming at them with nothing, and they've got 500 PhDs that have been doing 20 years worth of research. Doesn't cure a
But-
thing. But what can it do? And this is now medical fact. Does it alleviate the symptoms of Crohn's disease? And the only thing out there that can do this, yes.
Yes, it does.
No other medication will alleviate any symptom thereof.
I think
And it's non-addictive, and
I was
it
just about to
helps.
say-
It
Yes.
helps your pain and
Yes,
other
I was
people's
about to
pain
say-
that
Exactly.
no other medication can do. If they would go to the government with, you know what, it helps pain, it helps alleviate symptoms
Now,
of this,
here's
that,
the
or the other.
thing, though.
The government would probably turn around and here again, I have inside word from a pharmaceutical
I
rep.
know.
Her company wants to be able to use medical marijuana. They want to distribute it to people, but the government says, nope, it's an illegal drug. So not even a pharmaceutical company can legally work with it.
And it's
And it's
ridiculous,
ridiculous.
because like my mother passed away of cancer, and she had hospice come in, and all they were giving her was bottles of morphine, liquid morphine,
Yeah.
pills of morphine, all this anxiety med, and all she really, she really just needed some cannabis. I think it would have helped her a ton, and not to cure her, but to help treat her
Yeah.
while she was going through this. There was no saving her, and I think it would have helped a lot more than some of those
It would help her.
drugs.
I know it helps me get through the day. Sometimes.
Exactly.
And like I said, and even as you think about it, it's a component that you don't have to constantly go deal with someone about.
Well,
Right.
and the thing is marijuana helps you deal with the world.
Yes, it does. And the sad thing is, I'm gonna chew on you, government, because y'all started this way back in the wars, like Vietnam, whatever.
It goes
You guys were growing
Oh, yeah.
it. You guys were using it to make your rope, your tents. You were using it for the soldiers, for all their issues.
I mean,
Then
let's
all of a
stop
sudden,
cutting down the-
you decide to make it a threat against them. What's wrong with you? Get your booties up and go down there and change the law, because y'all know you hiding a secret. And you know what? Your files are unsealed. You guys need to get up and put it out there for us to, you know.
what
They-
the
they
problem-
do need to
it's
release
not
it.
a-
They need to release it,
We
yes.
want to blame the government, but again, and you guys are gonna get mad at me. It is not their fault.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's technically not. It's our
not.
fault.
It's our fault. We're and again,
We're complacent.
when President Obama got elected, President Obama said, "Vote for John, Jingle, and Smith."
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he said that. We all heard him say that.
We all heard that.
But when everybody went to the poll, you know what they did? I'm only voting for President Obama.
That's it. They didn't vote for anybody
But
else.
then everyone wanted to blame him for
Yes.
not. Sorry.
No worries.
for
No
not
worries.
for not being able to do what he said he can do.
Yeah.
Well, if he came out and said vote for these people, he was getting those people in position to be
Yes.
able to do what he
Uh-huh.
asked. So when I'm gonna come back on that now. Today's government is only doing what we allow them
Exactly.
and what our constituents are giving them the authority to do.
Yes.
I feel like this, you are correct, and I feel like if more people would use cannabis, this place would be a lot happier. That's all I gotta say.
Oh, absolutely. I've said that for
Stoned
years.
people
you know.
are so much
Stoned
nicer
people
than
are
angry.
nicer.
If you look
I
at
agree.
Exactly.
if you look at your
People.
prisons, if you look at your prison system and you look at certain states, and you got young men in jail or in prison for 10 to 15 years
Mhm.
for transporting marijuana
Mhm.
and the other acts that go with it.
Mm-hmm.
If you take that component out, our prison system will go down. We no longer have prisons that are being prepared right
Yeah.
now.
That's a whole
Exactly.
other subject right
You
there.
know,
in
Yeah,
my
that's a
opinion.
whole
so
other-
So it is. So you're correct. Cannabis is again, it's a responsible. But then we go back to prohibition.
Oh yes,
You know
back
what I'm
in the
saying?
day.
When alcohol, when we remember. I mean, I don't remember because I wasn't back then. But
Right.
my grandma, my aunt, my great aunts, they when alcohol was really illegal, you know, it was wow. It was really illegal at one time.
Yes.
Well, it
there
caused
was.
the mob to
Exactly.
become
The
Yeah,
mob-
the mob
mob,
became
yeah,
the mob
the
because
mob
because
of
became
of
the mob.
prohibition. And
Yeah,
I
you
mean, think about this. I mean, if the government would actually legalize it, then they could use that tax dollars to
Mhm.
create better schools, create
Yeah, look
Better
what's happening
exactly.
in
We're
Colorado
educating our
and Washington
prison,
and even
Yeah.
here
our
now.
prisoners, because I mean, like, people go and they go to prison and then they come out and they've not been rehabilitated and they go out and they reoffend and then they're back in the
Exactly.
system. So,
Yes.
I mean, there are ways, I mean, people like to smoke weed, so if they can make it legal or even eat it, I mean, I think you should eat it, but make it legal and then that way you can spend all those tax dollars on creating a better
We have
society.
cigarettes.
Yeah,
Look
we
how
have
much it-
cigarettes.
Look what it has done. Look, we have history on what cigarettes does to the body. Am I wrong or right?
Right.
Yeah, we're
Exactly.
What it does
We're
to the
right.
person sitting next to you.
Yep.
Exactly.
Exactly.
You know,
I
we
understand.
have history. We have information on that, and yet we still have cigarettes open to 18 and over. But we make cannabis available only 21 and over.
Yeah.
Makes no sense.
You know, so I mean, it's kind of
It's all a catch-22 when you think about it. Everything is a
Everything's
catch-22.
a catch-22.
You know, I hear some people talk about it in the adult industry also. You know, you can walk around and go get a blunt now at a store. Walk into a dispensary and get a blunt. You walk in and get porn. Everybody wants to know why you're getting porn.
Yeah, why you
Exactly.
Yeah,
Why you
why-
watching it?
Exactly.
Why you
know,
watching?
it's
Not
like-
getting enough at home?
You know, it's like why we take away from the we take
Sorry.
away so much away from
Yes.
what is needed to be talked about
Yes.
than what is not needed to be talked about.
I
We want
agree.
to talk about everybody's personal understanding instead of talking about what's the facts of what we're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And until we start getting that out there and electing those who need to be elected into office, getting members to come forth, and what I wanted to also, I'm going to jump off that and go back to you two, to collaborate the way you two are collaborating is one of the most unique things because the government talks about collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many people that come out there
Yes.
with these awesome projects, but they want to own their own project.
Exactly.
They don't want.
That's
want.
the thing about government. We want to reach out to the government here. I've met candidates for the mayor's office, councilmen, that about the subject. So we want to reach out to them as well
Yep.
with that, with the stance strong. That's what I'm saying. Whatever.
That's
we
what
can.
our government's talking about when they're talking about accountability and working with each other.
Mm-hmm.
See, businesses and the nonprofits pop up every day,
Sure.
not realizing why am I going to duplicate the services and saturate the money that's barely available already.
Right.
So if groups can come together,
Kindness. Everybody needs to be more kind to each other and quit being so selfish.
Exactly.
And really help
Yes.
each other.
and you know what? It's too many. It's about. They say it's not about I. In all actuality, it's all about I.
It is.
Because if it wasn't about I, instead of starting a new nonprofit, you'll go over to Sean. I'm just throwing a name out there, not saying that it really exists.
Right,
You'll
right.
go over to John's house and say, "Your nonprofit is doing this. My nonprofit does this.
Let's combine them.
Yeah,
combine
let's
them.
combine
Exactly.
together.
Let's move my board and your board. We make a new
Yep.
board, and we now initiate a working
Yep.
relationship.
Exactly.
A MOU, a memorandum of understanding.
Yes.
You know, and the problem with that is that there's so many people saying mine,
Yeah.
mine.
I don't get it either. I mean, it's not like you can take money, power, and with you when you die.
No,
I don't
you
know why
can't.
people hoard money. I mean, I get
Exactly.
that you want some money, but I mean, really, I mean, like,
Yeah.
I don't get that.
Yeah, I don't get that either, and that's why.
I really want to help the world. I really want to just really
Rather-
get people taking care of themselves better and eating better and you know, enjoying
that's-
cannabis in a recreational use and in a medical
Yeah.
use. I think that it can help so many people with so many things.
Mhm. And
And
what's your favorite recipe with cannabis? I'm dying to know because I want it to be the first thing you cook when we.
Oh, yeah.
I really think we ought to do like the basics. Teach
Okay.
people to do butter. Teach people to do oil.
Okay.
I really think
know how
maybe
to
we
do
ought to
butter.
just do the regular
Okay.
pot brownies. Maybe some Rice Krispie treats.
I'm like Lacey. I don't know. You ain't said no food yet.
Brownies.
Oh, yeah.
Brownies.
She said no food yet. What's the food?
So
I want to make pasta though, and I want to infuse it in. I was thinking about it would be great in pesto, and
Oh,
you
yeah.
could add
Chicken.
it.
Chicken.
We could use it.
Chicken
wings.
is like chicken
Oh, yeah.
is amazing. Chicken wings.
Because I've had infused chicken wings when we did the Weed TV smoke smile at the house. The chefs. I've had the wings.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
and I think that if you were to, because I mean, all pesto is basil, pine nuts, and then olive oil. But
Yeah.
you can infuse the olive oil and then with
With
the
the
cannabis, and
cannabis.
then add it in, and then you can even add some of the oil into the pasta.
Right.
So you could have like a yummy pesto or even a marinara and add it in. It would be
I'm
very
going to
good.
get some food after this. I'm starving now.
See,
Thank you very
that's why
much.
we want to do this with her and help her bring in the Vegas, but what we're doing.
So-
Sky's the limit. What
Yeah,
you
sky's
Yeah,
the limit,
when
and,
sky's the limit. So when we get her cooking show, she's gonna be on the show cooking and stuff. So please tune in, and then when
yeah.
her show comes on, you guys gotta. We should make her show right after ours.
She's gonna,
that way
no.
we could go over.
So-
and
You're gonna have
eat
lines
and-
out the door. Everybody, can I just sample it? Can I just sample a little bit?
And that's part of what Morning Tea with the Queens is. We collaborate with a lot of other people. So yeah, we are going to be helping Sharon get her Cooking with Cannabis show going.
Yeah.
She has had a rough time since she come here to Vegas. She has been totally scammed out of a lot of money, and she's working hard to try to stay here, to try to find a job, and even get people to help her donate money to her through her, and I'm going to link it onto the page where she's got this little GoFundMe thing happening so she can stay beyond Sunday. I personally am offering my kitchen in my condo for her to start the cooking show, and I'm personally going to film it free of charge. I am not charging her for this because I believe in what
And
she's
I'll
doing
be your
in the
assistant
movement.
in the kitchen.
Okay.
And I want to, real quick, before we sign off for the day, I want to thank Charles for being on the show and being
Thank
our
you,
special
Charles.
guest, filling in for Queen G. And of course, Nick Payne,
Thank you
doing
for being here,
wonderful,
Nick.
wonderful
Of course,
things
of
with
course.
the whole domestic violence thing and
Yes.
everything going on.
Yes.
And you're
You and I
coming up
gotta
to
talk.
be on
Huge.
America's Got Talent soon. So I know you got that project.
Yeah,
with-
being casting department for America's Got Talent,
Yeah.
Vegas audition.
Y'all better
You
suck
hear
up to
that,
him.
daughter? You
Y'all
hear
better
that,
suck up
Donnell?
because,
Donnell?
I
He's
made
going-
I made a.
call
I
mommy.
said a quote a long time ago that because Nick Cannon does many things. I said now I'm on his heels. He did America's Got Talent, and now I'm doing America's Got Talent.
So
And eventually I'm gonna run into him. In
You're gonna
Vegas.
run into
I'm
him
gonna run
eventually.
into Nick Cannon because now he's just wilding out.
yeah,
So,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
So,
so-
and that's his big pride. Plus, he's part owner of Nickelodeon.
yeah,
I say now I'm close. I'm just a little bit close to him with America's Got Talent.
yeah.
There you
are.
go.
I'm gonna catch.
So what are we gonna sing
I'm
today?
gonna mix Nick Cannon one of these days.
Exactly.
Yeah, so That's it for this week of season 1. We've had a great season. We're thanking you guys for liking our page, watching the shows. Coming up next Monday, we have a very famous plus-size model going to be right here in the studio on the set. I want to thank you guys for joining us. Have a beautiful weekend.
We love
Bye,
you.
everybody.
We love you guys.
Bye.